If you're trying to figure out if imposter syndrome is a real thing or just something you made up, stay tuned because so many people, when they're writing their manuscripts, they go through imposter syndrome. I'll tell you, I went through it, and I really went through it with my first jobs where I was teaching writing, but I also went through it as a writer. If you're new here, I'm Coach Debbie with Story U Talk Radio. I was a literature professor for many years, moved on to have a talk radio show, and I give you different videos, sometimes behind the scenes, sometimes things from my work life experience, sometimes things from my writing experience when I was either just being a hermit and writing like crazy, or I was trying to fit it in with the thousands of things we try to do in our week. But I like to give you support so that you know that what you're going through, a lot of people go through. And I have ways to help you get through it. So, what is this whole imposter syndrome? It really comes from this idea that we conjure in our mind that I can't do it. I won't be able to do it, and everyone out there will know. Everyone will see that I can't. So why even bother? Why even bother stepping up? Now, the first time I had to submit a piece of writing to be judged, I experienced imposter syndrome. While I was writing, I didn't really think about anything except what I wanted to write. It wasn't until it was time to submit it that I thought, well, what have other people written? You know? And did they pick a better topic? And did they write more? And was it of a caliber that I'm not at or will never be at? I mean, this is the mind feeding us with thoughts, but it's not real life. And that's where we get confused. We think, oh, there could be a million people submitting to this contest. I'm now one of a million. And for the last 5 weeks, I've just been one out of one. I've just been me at my desk writing, putting this together, getting it ready for a contest. Now there could be a million others. But what if there are a million others? And what if you did fine up against a million others? Even if there were only two others, I'll tell you this. Sometimes we can think, clearly it'll go to them. That contest award will go to them. There's three of us. I'm one of three. Why would first place go to me? That's imposter syndrome. It's just hanging out in your mind. It's just asking you made up questions because it's scared. And what's it afraid of? It's like a little guy living in your head going, "Don't make me look bad. Don't do that to me." If you want to drill back, you can find where this started. Maybe you came from a situation where your family was displaced where you were living, maybe because of socioeconomic reasons, maybe due to race, maybe due to religion, maybe due to other things, and you felt outside of what was really acceptable. If you did, it's not uncommon for you to wonder if you belong and for you to wonder if you're an imposter when you're not. You're not. You're just wondering. You're just feeling the feelings that say it's true, but they're actually just feelings. They're feelings, and they're the imposter. If you get nothing out of this video, get that. The only thing that is an imposter are your feelings. So, Even if you came from an environment where you felt on the sidelines or left out, even if at some point in your life you really were picked on or judged as mediocre, or some people have a memory of being judged as a failure, it doesn't mean you were an imposter. It just means you had some critical judges that, if you think about it now, you could see that as they were encouraging you to keep going. They were encouraging you to use the talent you have to keep going, because you might not be quite there yet, but that doesn't mean you can't get there. Imposter syndrome is the mind actually saying, I don't know if it would be safe for me to move up front. So I'm going to start believing things that aren't necessarily true to keep me in the background or hiding. Now, I was thinking about when I went for my first job to teach at the college. I was terrified and I experienced imposter syndrome. What, interestingly enough, helped me was I remembered 10 years prior, I went for a job as a writing tutor at a college. And that basically meant I had a 4-year degree, I had done well in writing, and I could now work one-on-one with individuals that were struggling to either learn English or work with their words on paper. And I felt pretty confident that I could do that. I had overcome many things as a writer. I could do this job. And I went and I interviewed and I got the job. But when I went years later to get a job as an associate professor, my first thought was, I've never done that. Why would they let me do that? If I do that, I have to assess people with grades. That affects their whole future. I don't know that I want to do this. I don't know that I'm qualified to do this. I don't know who is qualified to do this. My mind just ran with these ideas, but the imposter was that it wasn't really me that couldn't do the job. The imposter was that I believed that those feelings knew best. They were the imposter, though. They were just pretending that there's no way I could do it as a way of keeping me in the background. The good news is that I had friends that knew better. And when I went to them and said, it's weird, I've been tutoring writing all these years and I've got 3 degrees and I'm really nervous about this job interview. They're like, you're going to ace it. You're going to do fine. You're just overthinking it. You're just scared. It doesn't mean that those scary feelings are you. And they were right. They were right. And the same is true for you, my friends. When you decide to challenge yourself with like a writing contest or a new job where your writing's on the line, a lot of people are going to be looking at it, or anything like that, you should expect your brain to start toying with you and acting like you can't do this. And as a way of protecting you, your brain will say, as a way of protecting you, I'm going to shut the whole thing down and bring you way into the background. And maybe, maybe there's a job at McDonald's you could do or something else. Your brain will tell you things like that because it doesn't want you to be embarrassed or humiliated. It doesn't want some public kerfuffle to fall on you. So it's trying to protect you. But the only imposter at play here is your mind, your fearful thoughts. That's the only imposter. You are allowed a chance to go forth and give this a try. If you want to compete in a writing contest, go for it. If you're not accepted, oh well, go for the next one. There are people that have been rejected over and over again. And when finally the judge that really could see their talent came forward and said, you, you get the first place, everything took off for them. You might get a few rejections along the way, but it doesn't mean you're an imposter. It just means your thinking wanted to protect you, wanted to bring you to the back of the room, wanted to keep you safe. And it's just adding time until you go for it. Once you start going for it, you'll get momentum. You'll know who to talk to when you're feeling low. Those people will get behind you. You'll start to see the results you want. My friends, if you need some help with this, I'm Coach Debby. I'm from Story U Talk Radio. I have links down below where you can get in touch and ask me questions about this and get some personalized coaching just for the exact things that you are going through right now. I come to you every single week with more videos of behind the scenes or right in the trenches and everything in between. So I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.